Bulow Campground at Palm Coast, just south of Jacksonville, north of Daytona. Just pulling this place to camp. You never know where you are. You don't think about it. You think you're just in another campground. Until you decide to take a walk in the woods. Maybe you'll find a nice nature trail or something. But Bulow isn't the name of a campground. It's the name of something far more meaningful. I have to go to the bathroom. Hello, doggy. 2, 3. All our lives, we're taught to always obey, play by the rules, color in the lines. But if everybody did that, then there'd be no innovation, no discovery. So what basically you have to do is you have to break the rules. You have to cross over the boundaries. You have to go through the fence. Let's go through the fence and see what we find. Crossing over the next fence. Or sign, busting up the scenery, breaking my mind. Do this, don't do that, can't you read the sign? Sign said, long-haired freaky people need not apply. So I tucked my hair up under my hat and I went in to find out why. He said, you look like a fine, upstanding young citizen. I think you'll do just fine. So I took off my hat. Ha! Imagine that! Me working for you! Sign, sign, everywhere a sign. Another fence. Come on, let's break down some more boundaries. Come on. Some sort of old stone foundation to a building. Who knows what it could have been or was at some time. It's got a nice bridge here though. It doesn't look utilitarian. It looks more like a decorative bridge. Did you get me saying all that? This looks like more of a decorative bridge than a utilitarian one. These are some rich and amazing looking woods, very lush. Looks like the ground's really fertile. Everything's so healthy and abundant. Who's walked on this ground before me? And I don't mean yesterday or last year. I mean 100 years ago, 500 years ago, and 5,000 years ago. As we know, we're not the first peoples here. Looks like there's something through the woods there. Let's check it out. Watch your step here. Roots. A deer. See the deer? Oh, I feel like I'm in Greece. The Grecian ruins. Bulow Sugar Mill. This was the largest sugar mill in Florida. It was operated by Charles Wilhelm Bulow and John Joachim Bulow from 1820 until it was burned by the Seminoles in 1836. Way to go. Sugarcane was planted in January and February and was ready for harvesting by mid-October. Field workers cut the cane and loaded it on the wagons that brought it to the mill for processing. Wait a minute, field workers? Isn't that a euphemism? Don't want to upset the children and let them know that it was actually slaves who did all the work. No, they're field workers. 8-hour day, health insurance, retirement. Can't get up. I'm gone. We'll have Wonder Bread and Skippy peanut butter and Smucker's jelly and Kool-Aid and Oreo cookies. Come on, it'll be great. The bale. I'm gonna pick a bale cotton. I'm gonna pick a bale a day. Souls of all the people who walked here before me. I can feel it in my feet. I feel it going up my legs. Ugh. Can you hear their voices in the wind? Sold! $200! A fine young buck. John Bulow owned 159 slaves who were quartered in 46 houses. The small wood cabins, 12 feet wide and 16 feet long, were built on foundations of native lime rock. These coquina foundation blocks are the only surviving parts of the original structures. A neighboring planter commented that Bulow slaves fared fairly well. Other accounts of slave life at Bulow Plantation have been less favorable. Imagine in 100 years, actually I think this plantation was only around for about 20. All that went on, or all that time, the births, the deaths, people getting sold away from their families. Right here. Right here. I'm sitting in their living room. I could never understand the Dr. Laura mentality of birthing and raising your children for the sole purpose that someday they should grow up and climb to the top of the corporate ladder. To me, my kids weren't born to do great things so I could brag about them. I really dread when I go to people's houses, you have to listen to the roll call of success and achievement. Oh, Johnny's a rocket scientist, and Jimmy builds $1-million homes, and Susie's a brain surgeon. It would be great if my kids did great and wonderful things, but I want them to do what they want to do. Frankly, I would be just as happy if they didn't, because I don't think they need the stress. I don't think it's worth it. I'd rather just see them just enjoy what they do, even if it's the smallest thing. I think my grandmother put it best. Yeye, Elsa, told me a story once. her mother went to the park and she sat down on a park bench next to a group of women, and they were talking about their children. And one woman turns to her and says, "So, how many children do you have?" And she turns to her and she says in Yiddish, "I have what I have." That really shut that old biddy up, didn't it? And I realize there's something I just don't get about this whole Christian people thing, all the Jesus religions. On TV and on the radio, they're all talking about how against they are of the New World Order, and they want freedom, and they don't want governments telling them what to do. They don't want a governmental or a social one world. But why do they want to convert everybody and have a religious one world? Isn't that very hypocritical? And as far as that whole theory with the New World Order of having one world government and everything, there's two sides to every story, and there's two parties in this country, two main ones, and there will never be a one world government, but there may be two. Just like all the corporations are merging and merging and merging, but they'll never merge into one because there'll always be two opposing factions. So there might be two world orders, and then we're all going to fight and kill ourselves and blow us off the face of the planet and it'll